Good morning. Welcome to the pre-meeting of the Newark Municipal Council on Wednesday, April 16th. Council President,
Let's,
council members,
can we have some quiet in the galley, please? Thank you. Continue.
we are on page 4 of the agenda, item 5, reports and recommendations of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Any questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, next item.
Ordinance on first reading, 6FA is an ordinance amending business and occupations to create a new chapter regarding licensing of dockless vehicles used for commercial e-deliveries in order to promote improved sidewalk and street safety in the city of Newark's public right-of-way, sponsored by Councilman Ramos, second by Councilman Kelly.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
Public hearing, second reading and final passage. 6P SFA is a bond ordinance providing for the local unit's allocable share of capital improvement projects for the joint meeting of the Essex and Union counties by appropriating $1,445,000.
Any questions, council? Hearing none, next item.
B is an ordinance granting a 30-year tax abatement under the HMFA law to Fulton Street Newark LLC for a project to construct a new multifamily housing project consisting of 396 residential units in the Central Ward. Council President, council members, this item has to be amended on the floor this evening to reflect payments. And as a result of the amendment on the floor this evening, this item will be deferred for re-advertisement. So there will be no public hearing for this item.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can we get an email with regards to the amendments?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? All right, next item.
C is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to Newark Portfolio 2 Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct a 5-story mixed-use building with 23 two-bedroom residential units, inclusive of 18 two-bedroom market-rate residential rental units, 5 two-bedroom affordable housing rental units, of which 1 unit shall be restricted to tenants at 40% of area medium income AMI, 2 units shall be restricted to tenants at 60% AMI, and 2 units shall be restricted to tenants at 80% AMI in the West Ward, sponsored by Councilman Kelly, second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Any questions, council? Hearing none, next item.
6P SFD is an ordinance amending business occupations to create a new chapter entitled Driving School Registration. Council President, council members, this item will be deferred into the next meeting.
Thank you. Next item.
6 SFA is an ordinance authorizing the execution of a lease agreement between the City of Newark and 169 Clinton Development Urban Renewal LLC for the purpose of providing housing for a significant homeless population in the City of Newark.
This item should be deferred.
Defer.
We defer it as a whole.
Duly noted.
Thank you. Defer. Yeah.
We are on page 10, resolutions. 7R1A and B are temporary emergency appropriations. A is to provide funds for the operating expenses until the adoption of the 2025 operating budget. And B is for the 2025 Summer Youth Employment Program.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
C is an amending resolution to extend the term of emergency contract and to increase the total not to exceed contract amount for the removal and replacement of elevators at 3 locations at 110 William Street, 394 University Avenue, and 94 William Street Health Department.
Councilman Quintana.
This elevator company, the same company that are going to be doing the work here? Just want to know. No?
My lord.
Hold on a second.
Because I would just hope that everything is in a sequence, you know, that you don't bring someone to do, we want somebody just, all the elevators throughout the city, that should be one person. So when something goes wrong, we can say, you did it.
Thank you, Councilman Quintana. Mr. BA.
Yeah, good morning, Eric Pennington, Business Administrator. All these elevator agreements are subject to public bids, so we can't
Okay.
say which one is going to go to the same company. For the City Hall, we expect to go out to bid for that, or award actually to the lowest bidder very soon. We have to go out with a capital bond, which should be coming to the council pretty soon to make up for the $2 million shortfall, what it's going to take to repair the elevator, replace actually the elevators here. So it is not likely to be the same company.
Okay. Can we get a presentation,
Sure.
Mr. BA? Because
Absolutely.
sometimes we vote for these things, but then we don't know who these folks are.
Yeah.
And we should ask some questions. What to start day, what is the finish day, and what is the product going to look, what is it going to look like?
Great questions. Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Councilman. It's noted. Next item.
D is a contract to extend a declaration of emergency for animal impound and sheltering services.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
E is a cooperative contract to purchase 3 used fire apparatus and other additional equipment, products, and services associated with firefighting.
Councilman Gonzalez.
Back to D, if we can.
Let's finish E. Is there any questions on E?
The
All
shelter.
right, no, all right, let's go back
I
to,
do have a question.
I'm sorry, all right, on E? That's what started it?
Go
And then we'll go
to D,
back.
And then we go back.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to know, maybe the BA can help. What are the apparatuses that are being purchased?
And while you're going up there, I'm assuming there's some kind of certification to make sure that these are safe.
Yes, they are. Eric Pennington, Business Administrator. We're going to get 2 fire trucks, 2 pumper trucks, and 2 utility vehicles, essentially big vehicles that can actually transport firefighters as well. There will be secondary vehicles for when our vehicles are out of service, but they should be of a high quality. And to Council President's question, they will come with appropriate warranties.
Where, are they going to be housed in any specific house, or is it just for all of the firehouses?
There'll be backup vehicles, so they won't necessarily be housed somewhere, but they could be when they be put in service, but they're not going to be assigned to a specific location initially.
Yeah, Mr. BA, we are paying $160,000 to the Associated Humane Society. At one point in time, the city had a study to build its own shelter, a no-kill shelter in the West Ward. What is happening with that? We're spending 160,000 times 12 is $1.5 million, almost $2 million. What is happening with that?
To build a new facility?
Yeah.
It's not really under consideration right now. My understanding is at one point, the county was looking at building a facility that would be used by everyone. We would certainly join in that endeavor if that's something the county wanted to do. Some other municipalities around have started a discussion as to whether or not another municipality would join with the city of Newark and others to build a facility. We're happy to have that discussion too, but it has died on the vine. So we don't have anything actively planned to build a facility.
And what are we getting for $160,000 a month? Because at one point in time, we had a lot of complaints about the treatment the animals were receiving there. Has that improved?
I think I'll flip that question back to you if I can. Have you gotten any complaints recently?
No, I have.
I think that we're doing significantly better. We're on top of the services that are being provided by the facility. The state is monitoring them. We pay a fair amount of money. The main reason for that is, I guess, probably goes to your earlier question, is we have no other alternative location.
Yeah.
Right. But the services are adequate.
Councilman Quintana.
At the time, it was supposed to be Newark and East Orange. Councilman Gonzalez, it was supposed to be Newark and East Orange partnering up to create a facility that was under the Booker administration. So I don't know whatever happened to that conversation between Newark and East Orange. At the time, that was what was presented to the council at the time.
Well, I will ask our Director of Health and Community Wellness to add to her plate, looking at restarting those discussions.
Councilman Kelly.
Just a quick question, BA. Where currently, when somebody has an issue, just for on the record with the people watching, where do they call or who do they call when it comes to the city of Newark to pick up an animal? Or, I mean, I know they call our health department because I got a couple of calls, but it is not housed in Newark, right? It's taken outside of Newark?
No, it's in Newark.
It's in North.
It's in Newark. It's in Newark on Evergreen in the South Ward. But they can call 973-733-4311 to make the initial request or complaint or notification, and it'll be routed to the appropriate people to pick up and transport and address whatever the issue is.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right,
You're welcome.
questions? Thank you, Mr. BA. We're on 7R1F, I believe. Yeah.
7R1F is a bid contract for homeless services, Hope Village 2 operator.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
G is a bid contract to provide services for interpretation and document translation.
Questions from the council? Here, Councilman Gonzalez.
Yeah, that's $1 million in interpreters. I would like to know what has been spent in the previous years. 'Cause seems to me like a lot of money to spend. Madam Clerk, if we can get, let's say, for at least the last 2 years, what has been the amount spent?
And I would also add, if I can add on to that, what was the contract awarded for amount as opposed to what was actually expended? Any other questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
7R2A is private sale to rehabilitate property and use as an owner-occupied home in the Central Ward.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
Good morning, Council President, council members. Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. I do want to share with you, we do have the photographs and the information that we typically provide. Unfortunately, we weren't able to have it finished until this morning, so I do have hard copies that I'm happy to provide to you. Second, the memos that we provided and started to provide at the last meeting, they will be sent to you. We were not able to print them before the meeting, but you will have them immediately following this meeting this morning, and that'll be for each of the 5. And those memos, as you probably recall, will explain not only the project, but also the recommendation from the department as to why we want to move forward. Third, the items on the agenda here, there are 5 private sale and redevelopments. 4 of the 5 purchasers are present this morning. 1 will be present this evening. So I'm happy to introduce them and have each of them come to the podium if that's the council's wish.
All right, let's move with that.
Before that, let's
Yes.
say the house in the center here is the one that we're selling.
Yes.
If you look to the right of that house, it's even in a worse condition than that one that we're selling. Are we selling that one too?
Council President, to Councilmember Gonzalez's question, I'd have to check the status of any property adjacent to it, but the property that is under discussion is the one in the center. But I do understand the question.
And the concern that I have is the assessed value on this property is $137,000. We have discussed that many, many times
Yeah.
in terms of, say, the optics of selling the property for $56,000 when we have an assessed value of $137,000. So I would suggest that some way, somehow, we adjust those assessed values before we bring them to the council so that we don't look as bad.
I appreciate the comment, Council President, that Councilmember Gonzalez made. I do understand. I also know, as our city knows, that we are going through the reevaluation, but that does not address the current situation. So I will see if we can work on that with our tax assessor. But I would note that the great part about the first project is that we are selling it at $15 a square foot, which is on the higher end of our price per square foot that we sell. And it also is going to be owner occupied. And so that's another reason for us to look at it this way.
Yeah, and I applaud you for bringing the price to $15 from $4 that we were selling it before. But again, we have to do better in terms of, let's say, the optics of these sales.
Understood.
And I would hope the information that we receive later on today would also be able to justify or explain why the sales price is the way it is versus the assessed value.
Understood.
Any other questions from the council? Hopefully we'll get that early or the memo before 6:30. as soon as
Yes,
possible.
yes, it's actually completed. I just am currently present with you, and so I'll transmit it as soon as I get back to my
All right,
desk.
thank you. Thank you.
Council, I just,
Councilman Silva.
I just want to say something, and I'm not, Deputy Mayor Ladd is an expert in this, and I'm not questioning everything when she comes up to the microphone and says something. But there's a couple of vacant lots here that we're proposing. I'd like to know, when they build a house there, what that house sells for. Going back to Councilman Gonzalez's point, because there's homes in Columbia, my colleague from the West knows that area. It needs rehabilitation and it needs new life. But I would kind of agree. I've never spoken on this, but looking at closings in the last year or so in this city, even areas in the West and the South, homes now going for $800,000-900,000. So just going back to Councilman Gonzalez's point, I'd like to follow up and find out when that person builds the home on Columbia, what that home actually sells for at us selling it at $15 a square foot. So that's just my point.
Yes, understood. Understood, Councilmember Silva. Council President, on this topic, I think we know our market conditions have changed a lot over the last 5 to 10 years. And I think that the part that's exciting about it is that we are still having our Newark residents be part of that growth, which is how we're working to sell these properties the majority of the time. It does not mean it's every sale, but we are really working to have our nonprofit organizations. That's because of the ordinance that was passed about a year and a half ago that we give nonprofit organizations the first right. And so that's one reason. I'd say second, because of our equitable investments initiative, which selected 16 joint venture partners, which are overwhelmingly the majority of Newark residents, and also 100% affordable housing developments in those 16 projects. So all below 80% of AMI and some much deeper than that. And then the last thing I'll say, and more specifically to Councilmember Silva's point is that our office, through our leadership of the BA and our mayor, created a compliance office about 2 years ago. And that compliance office actually reviews all of the projects once they're sold for complete compliance and issues a certificate of completion. And that ensures that we know that the project was actually built. And also we can understand what the valuation of the project is at that time. So understood the question, but I'm glad that we created an infrastructure within the Economic and Housing Development Department so that we can actually give you that information upon completion of the project.
Thank you. And
I just want to say something. I'm pretty sure it's going to get built. Looking at the values of homes today in our great city and what the homes are selling for, a developer or a contractor or a nonprofit would be nuts not to build on a piece of vacant land today. So I'm pretty sure that it's going to get built. My question was, I've never spoken up about this. My question was just what Councilman Gonzalez's point was, that we were selling it for a certain amount, and the value of homes now, and it's not the East Ward or the North Ward, the South, the Central, the West. The prices of homes are now at a price where maybe we should be asking a little more for a few for per square foot. But I leave that to your expertise. That's just my opinion, looking at the value of homes today.
Sure. Understood, Councilmember Silva.
And let me ask one question before you, Councilman, I'm sorry. In some cases, Deputy Mayor, there are restrictions on the sale of this property, on these properties, right? So they
Yes.
may not be able to sell it right after they built it to get to CCC. Some of them have maybe 5-year
Deed
deed
restrictions.
restrictions or
Yes.
things like that. So it's not that they just buy it, fix it up, sell it right away. They may have some deed restrictions.
Correct, Council President. Yes, not all projects are immediately sold thereafter. Some are held for rental properties. Some are held, like the first one on the agenda is held for personal use. I think that there are some projects that are sold, but that is also referenced when we present it to the council, if it's going to be a for sale project, and also if it's going to be for market or affordable purposes. And so I understand all of the sentiments of the council. I think that, again, just given our market conditions, we've been trying to do better about how do we reach parity. But I'd also say on the other side is that we're still trying to invest in our city. And one way to do that is to take vacant and blighted properties out of the hands of of the city, because that does create unintended consequences, whether it's illegal dumping or boarding and securing, or even in the worst case, any type of fire or police issue. So we really try hard to manage our inventory and put it back into productive use as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Councilman Gonzalez.
I applaud you for that. I believe that that's something that should be done. But let's say when we have comparables here at 22,000, 25,000, why don't we go to the, let's say, to the market rate comparables that are selling in the city for $200,000, $250,000 for a lot, instead of citing a 22,500 comparable that is not comparable anymore, because the market in the city of Newark for a lot 25 by 100 is close to $200,000, not $2,200. So what we're doing, and I appreciate that what we're doing we're trying to create some wealth in some people, but we're transferring a significant amount of wealth from the city to the builders. So let's say at least $200,000 in the cost of the lot itself, and it's good that we're doing that because we are, let's say, improving the conditions of some of the people. And I would love to see more people from the city of Newark taking advantage of that, and not people from, let's say, from the surrounding towns.
Yes, understood, Council President. And I think that was one of the reasons why Mayor Baraka wanted us to introduce that legislation about 1.5 years ago, to have nonprofits and community-based organizations have the first right to purchase. And so we are seeing that as positive, because we know that their investment in our city is already present and longstanding. So the ability to have them do more great work in our city is something that we're supportive of. I do hear what you're saying, Councilmember Gonzalez, and just to note, the comparables for your awareness are properties that we sold from the city in the past, and both of these and the ones further on the agenda are recent sales, so they're not like 10 years ago, they're just in the last couple of years.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yep. I'm going to let Councilman Gonzalez voir dire
They're ready.
what's coming
No
forward.
problem. Would you like me just to bring them up one at a
Yeah,
time?
let's
Council
start with the
President?
first one with
Okay. The first is here, it's 2416-87. It's regarding 270 North 7th Street. And the gentleman is President, and he is on his way to the podium. And I know, well, he's prepared to speak.
Good morning, council members. My name is Leopoldo Benavides. I'm a
Morning.
resident of Newark, and I'm also a registered home improvement contractor here in the state of New Jersey.
All right, Councilman Gonzalez.
How, is this the first time that you buy from the city of Newark?
Yes,
And have you developed other properties in the city of Newark?
yes. I previously renovated 2 properties before in Newark and do work around Newark as well.
Are you flipping these properties?
No, this property here will be, I'm occupying and owning the property.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? All right, thank you. And this is going to be an owner-occupied property, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
The next person, and the next item is 24-1683. The entity name is PAJ Industries LLC, and the gentleman is here as well.
Good morning, council. My name is Adrienne Jordan. I'm a resident of Newark since 2019 and a full-time real estate investor.
Morning.
Good day, council. My name is Georgios Pilardis. I'm a builder developer. I've previously built here in Newark. We're also developing in East Orange, and we'd like to do more developing here in Newark. Thank you for the opportunity.
Are you
Thank you.
partners in this transaction?
Yes, we're partners.
So are we going to live in the property? Are we going to flip it? Or what are we going to do with it?
We're going to develop the property, and then we're going to sell it. We're going to put it back on the market. We're going to build a 3-family home. I'm pretty sure that's what it's, it meets the criteria for that.
This is a 605 Hunterton.
Hunterton, yes, sir.
Okay. What's next to those properties? What is next to your lot?
If I'm not mistaken, they're all 2-family homes. It's a R3 zone.
2 families, and you're building a 3 family?
Threes, I'm sorry,
Three
threes. It's an
families.
R3, yes, sir. Thank you for
Okay.
the correction.
Okay, and this is how big is this lot? 6,000.
6,000
yes,
square feet.
That's enough for the 3 families. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, a question from
Um,
Councilman Kelly.
Once you're done, what do you believe you will probably sell this house for? Or, I know developers
Can't
want to
tell
get the
that.
most money they can. I
That's-
understand that.
Yeah, that's speculation.
Excuse me, I have a little cold too, so.
The cost for 3-family house has also gone up quite a lot. Building materials have gone up a lot. So,
Mhm.
the cost of the 3-family without the lot, we're looking at close to $550, $600 just to build a home, and then we're going to end up selling it for market value for anywhere between $9 to $1 million. Yeah.
And who knows what the market value will be at that point?
We
So
don't
that's
know. A year from now, it
speculation,
could
yeah.
drop tremendously. Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
risk that we're taking, a very big risk.
And you said you both are recently new to Newark, New Jersey?
I'm from Maryland, but I've lived in Newark since 2019, and I own 6 properties in Newark as investment properties.
Okay. Last question. Because I know a lot of developers come in and say, we don't want to push Newarkers out. We want them to be able to afford to buy. And the market has gone up substantially, right? And I think that $1 million, with me being from born and raised here, is a lot for a Newarker. What are some of your ideas, or you don't really, maybe you don't have any ideas of who you're selling to, and if there's a plan to put a Newarker into that property?
We could certainly put a Newarker into that property. That wouldn't be an issue.
For $1 million? I would just love
Again,
to.
forgive me for interrupting you, but the cost of the cost of the builds are actually gone up a lot tremendously. So by the time we sit there for a year, build it and sell it, it's a substantial amount of money that we're spending.
No,
we're gonna be there
understood.
For a while. We're gonna be
Understood.
there for almost a year.
I just would love to hear the plan of what it's going to take to put a Newarker into the problem. You said you
sit down and discuss that. I mean, I don't, you know.
For me, this is sort of a first foray into development, and yes, it will be a market rate sale, but my ultimate goal is to build larger structures that can house affordable housing in the city of Newark. So just getting my foot in the door is sort of the primary goal, and then I see myself 2 to 3 years down the line building mixed-use properties, hopefully 40 to 50 units that can be a mixture of market rate and affordable. So that would also be able to house Newarkers on the affordable side.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that this wouldn't be just a one-off. You would utilize this to create affordable housing in Newark for Newarkers to
Correct.
be able to.
Yeah, so
The one thing that you have to consider in the is the cost. It's a
Exactly.
you're buying lumber that is going to come from Canada, and our president increased the tariff on that by 25%. So the cost that you're estimating today might not be realistic a year from now if conditions continue to be the way that they are now. It's difficult to predict what is going to happen, and hopefully they don't increase that much so that you can build the house, because I suppose that at some point you are going to decide whether building the house is feasible or not, because the market might not, let's say, afford the price that you would have to sell it.
Well, that's such with the real estate market as a whole.
speculation, a lot of that. I'm thinking Councilwoman
Yeah,
Scott Brown first.
I appreciate your honesty that you're probably going to sell it for 900,000 to $1 million. That's the reality of the market today. And that was my point, that the lot is being sold to you for 26,500, when in reality it's probably worth 5-6 times that amount, right? Listen, you put that on the market today, I guarantee you'll get a buyer for 150,000. But I'm sorry, but the point is that we realize that material costs more, labor costs more, all that stuff. And here's the reality of it. That person's mortgage most likely is not going to hold a Newark resident, because that person is going to have to get a good amount of money to be able to pay. I'm just giving realistic, right? Let's be realistic. And that was my point earlier. And again, I love this lady. She comes up here and does a great job. But the reality is that today, I think, going back to Councilman Gonzalez, we're giving it away too cheap. And two, when you sell it for $900,000 or $1 million, that person is not coming from Newark, New Jersey. And most likely, just let me finish, most likely, the rents for him to pay his mortgage are going to be such an amount that realistically, a Newark person, it's going to be very difficult for them to live in. But this property, you're buying it from the city. Good luck to you. And I hope everything works out as you want it. But I'm just giving the realistic approach to what Councilman, my colleague in the West District, was saying, that most likely it's not going to end up with Newark residents in it or a Newark home buyer, because the prices are just have gotten that crazy in those areas. So.
Well,
So,
let me just say something real quick. I think, thank you, Councilman Silva. The reality of it is, the cost to build these houses and the price to build these houses, to build houses on vacant property, on dilapidated property, it is necessary. I believe it is necessary for the properties to be sold. And I appreciate this one is being sold at $10 a square foot as opposed to the lower numbers. And when you are building these properties, as we've been talking about, the cost may become even more. And the reality of it is, we want to build properties. We want them built in there. We want people to live in those properties and be either are or become Newark residents and be good neighbors in our community. So I think this is something that's appropriate, and we've had to deal with this in the past. We've sold properties before. We just happen to ask them this question as opposed to other developers this question. So I actually don't think there's an issue with this.
So Council
Councilwoman.
President, I
All right.
understand there's more questions, but again, Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. I appreciate the candor that this purchaser has brought forward for, as you're considering to vote on this item this evening. But again, this is one of many sales that the city has done over the last 10 years. And I just think that we need to also be fair in how we're scrutinizing the work, because in some cases, I will also say this as a second point, because I know there's a lot of concern about Newark residents being able to afford property in Newark to buy. So as you know, our office also manages a down payment and closing cost assistance program, whereby we offered the $20,000 to residents who are buying in the city. I have recently looked at the data, and actually people who are buying 2 and 3 family units and houses, one for them to live in and the other for them to rent, those prices are $500,000 to $600,000, and that's at 80% of AMI. So in that case, we are not necessarily pushing people out of our city. That's actually something that was different for me, because in the past, those numbers would have been about half of that, so closer to $250,000 to $300,000 for a sales price for someone at 80% of AMI. But because our city has the wonderful character of having 2 and 3 unit houses, which allow the owner to rent the other units to help create more income, people who are at 80% of AMI can afford some of these homes. Now, not everyone can afford $1 million single family house, but neither can I. So I just think that we should be understanding that that's just something that we have to look into as far as consideration, that it's got to be also fair. And I think that this group here, they are going to do some good work. We want them to continue to invest in the city. And if there are any questions, we do still have 2 additional developers who are present in chambers.
Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
I just want to say, this is 605 Huntington Street in Newark, New Jersey. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I see that my colleague, Councilman Council, has arrived. This is in his ward, and I do believe that, if possible, we should hear from him as well regarding this development.
And also, Council President, if I could, I think that if there's a larger discussion around private sales and affordability, that is not a conversation, in my humble opinion, with the people who are buying property. I think if we'd like to have a conversation between the administration and council, I think we can have that conversation. But I do think that creating this approach for some of our great partners who want to do great work in our city, I want them to continue to want to do that as well. And there are others, and we could probably bring a longer list of people who have also benefited from the sale of property. And in the long run, it's positive for our economy and for our city's growth. And so we can provide services to the residents.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilman Council.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for this matter to be deferred. Anyway, so. It's good.
Is there a second for deferment?
Second.
If I could ask, I know the council member just arrived, and so forgive me, I'm sure this is out of order, but the 2 people are present today, and perhaps they could talk to the council member before tonight. If there's an ability for that to happen, the administration would appreciate that, as they are here, and they did just go through an extensive question and answer period.
All right, so we will see what happens with Councilman Council.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Council President, just thing, I'm not against development, but, I just think there needs to be some conversations, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not opposed to it. That's the councilman of the ward. I respect his decision, whatever he does. But if this was in the East Ward, I'd have questions for that developer. I'm sorry, I would have questions for that developer. So for the deputy mayor to say that these conversations shouldn't be taking place, if that was a developer from the East Ward, don't make him come up to the microphone, because I'm going to have certain questions for him. That's all I'm saying. I'm not against development. The man's smart enough to know what's best for his ward. But at the end of the day, if a developer comes in front of the microphone and he's going to develop in the East Ward, I'm going to have questions. That's all.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Let's move on to the next item.
The next item is 25-0204. The group is Freedom Property Investment LLC, and they are present as well. They're making their way to the microphone. This property is located on 92 Speedway Avenue in the West Ward.
What's the address of the property?
92 Speedway, Speedway Ave, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fernando Mingo. I'm a United States Marine, representative on behalf of my family's development firm here. I'm accompanied by my brother Oswaldo Mingo. He's our project manager on several of our projects here.
Councilman Gonzalez or Councilman?
Yes,
Kelly wants.
thank you, Council Pres. I met with these gentlemen, and you guys are taking after your father, so to speak, right? Your father's the developer in the city.
Yes, sir. So our father ran a construction company for the last 20 years based out of Essex County. We did a lot of work in Newark and East Orange, and over the years, he's developed his craft and was allowed the opportunity to invest in Newark. And that spiraled into an opportunity for us to learn from him and, add value to the community as well.
So this is not your first property though, right? You did 2 other properties?
Yes, sir. So we now have 2 properties in new construction in Newark in process, and then we have one in East Orange as well. And then we've done several garden renovation jobs as well on the side.
And you said create jobs on the side, that's what you said?
Oh, we did several garden renovation investments on the side as well.
Okay. I see that you have, I think between you and your father's company, you guys have about 4 projects in the West Ward now, right? Are they all 2s or 3s, or I don't remember. What are they?
So it is a combination of 2 and 3 families. The exact mix I do not know at this moment, but it's a mix of 2 to 3 families here.
Mix of 2 or 3 families. And out of these mix of 2 and 3 families, I know that some of the prices vary. What are you looking to sell? Are you planning to sell these properties, keep these properties, or since you have about about 4 properties, what is the plan with the 4 properties? Are you keeping one of them? Are you making sure that Newark is getting one of them, or what's the strategy with having the 4 properties? Because Deputy Mayor said that some developers, they buy and hold one, and then they give another one away for 100% affordable or have some affordability in there. What is your strategic plan? Are you just planning to flip these properties and move on? Or I know you said your father was here for 20 years building the Essex County, or do you plan to follow in his footsteps?
That is a great question, Sharon. I'm glad that you bring it up. So for the other 3 properties that we currently have in process, those are the ones that we're looking to sell at market rate. But this one is specific. We actually submitted these applications last year, right? And times change, and our vision for this property here on Speedway changed. Our family, we actually resided in Isabella Avenue a couple years back for 4 to 5 years. And we're actually looking to return back to the city. We're looking to start occupying these homes, start developing and keeping them. I currently have a small daughter and a wife back home, and this is our first project that we're looking to keep, and I'm looking to reside in one unit and rent out the other unit.
So you currently live on Isabella?
Oh, we lived in Isabella a couple years back for 4 to 5 years, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. So you're looking to invest in Newark where you actually lived at? All right, so do you have a plan on keeping Newarkers in your properties? You have about 4 properties. Is there a plan to keep Newarkers, specifically for me in the West Ward, in your property?
So this is something that we have not looked into yet, but I'm very glad that you bring in the topic. This is something that we're genuinely looking to look into and, explore and offer opportunities for Newarkers, to take advantage of the opportunities being created in the city here. So we're more than welcome to look into that further. I'm glad you bring it up.
And the last question too, since you said you lived on Isabella, is that one of the reasons, like, is community important to you enough that you're willing to stay in those areas, or is just a flip?
I'm very glad that you bring it up. So my father was an immigrant that came to the country at 19. He didn't have shoes, he didn't have clothes. He was very, very humble up until the age of 15. He left the home and he came to this country to fight for a better future. And now that he's had a lot of success from what he does as a contractor and as an investor, he's actually went back home And he's built schools, he's built soccer fields, he's built opportunities for the kids to grow and hopefully come to the country and offer and be successful, to have a chance at the American dream. So yes, community is very important to us because, at one point we didn't have anything.
Thank you.
I guess the question, did Councilman Kelly ask the question that, like he asked the last question, what the amount they're going to sell the house for, or?
Yeah, the amount that you plan on selling the houses for. What are some of the amounts that you're planning on selling the houses for? Like, I know it's a speculation and a guesstimation, but out of the 4 projects that you have, we know that one of the developers said they're looking to go for 900,000 to $1 million. What are some of the estimated prices do you think that your properties will go for?
Yeah, just kind of to piggyback on what you mentioned, right? It really depends where the market lands, and it really depends on what a buyer's willing to pay for it. For us, building is a long-term commitment, and we know that's going to stay there for the next 30 to 40, 50, 60 years. So all of our properties have immense aesthetic. We put a lot of conscious effort into the design, the materials, and how it's going to look and function for the next homeowners. So it really depends, but typically for the properties, it could be anywhere from 875 to 900,000. At the end of the day, the market dictates that, sir. So.
Council President, I like that answer because I met with these gentlemen and their father, and that was about around the same type of price that they talked about before. They talked about community. They talked about being around Isabella, talked about the West Ward specifically and how they wanted to help build out for the future of the West Ward. So very impressive young fellas. Thank you.
Thank you.
you, guys.
Other questions? All right.
Good morning again, Council President, Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. We do have one additional person who is present this morning, Elite Prime Properties. I apologize, this is item C. I skipped it by accident, and they are present, he is present today. The item E will be attending this evening. So I'll bring up Elite Prime. And just a note, in fairness, I would just be remiss if I didn't share that there are fair housing rules at the federal level, the state level, and the local level. And so preference and priority has to be dictated by law. And so I just want us to be cautious as we're asking specific questions because it's an important thing, of course, that while we want our Newark residents to be part of everything we do, we also want to be careful that we're not on the line related to the federal, state, and local laws.
With that being said, Deputy Mayor, if you could send those to all the council members so that they can peruse the legislation.
Happy to do so. Thank you. And now I'll bring up Elite Prime. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we can do a little bit better. Good morning.
Good day. How are you?
Okay, there we go. My name is DeAndre Hurley. I'm a resident of the West Ward. I actually live on Smith Street, the area that I'm proposing to develop. And I'm just happy and excited to be here and look forward to being a great partner with the city of Newark.
Kelly, yes.
How you doing today? You could do better than that. How you doing today?
Doing great.
You know what? I do like that you live on the block. And by you living on the block, is that one of the reasons that made you want to purchase on the block? Or I know you already occupy a resident on the block, but are you selling this? Are you flipping this? And whether you're selling or flipping, what is the reason that made you want to purchase on the block that you currently live on?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. So, and a little backstory about me. Like, so I'm from South Carolina. I moved down to New Jersey in 2019, and Newark became my home, where I bought my first house on Smith Street. And so for me, this is just more than just making a profit and not being involved in the community. This is my investment back to the city of Newark. Moving to Newark has been a life-changing experience for me to be here today, to give back, getting involved, going to different meetings, going to Invest Newark. So this project ideally, we would love to hold on to it for a rental and do affordable housing. As you know, when it comes to development and affordable housing, it's a process. So with that being said, we have until like June. That will be our first attempt. We will try to go at, although the proposal is to do sell for market, we will make our best effort to try to go after affordable housing and try to apply for those state funds, which ends in June, which kind of have time constraints at the moment. But if not, then we will try to sell at market rate.
I noticed that you keep saying we. So you have, how many other partners do you have?
So I have one other partner, builder partner, who has developed in the West Ward before, and this is my first development project. So this is also a project to show the city that this is something that I can or we can get done. So this development is a journey. It's not something that you can just do by yourself. So you have to rely on partnerships and collaborations, and that's the approach that I'm going.
And you said that your partner has developed in the West Ward prior. Which area, if you don't mind me asking?
On Sanford Ave. So it's in the West, so right up the street from
So
us.
right up the street from you?
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially you as partners will have multiple properties in the vicinity of where you currently live.
They sold that project, but yeah.
All right, cool. The property that he currently has, are you sharing in any partnership with that?
What do you mean by that?
Your partner,
Yeah.
the property that he has on Sanford,
Mhm.
are you a partner in that?
Oh,
as
no, I
well?
wasn't a partner in that.
Okay.
I met them, 'cause like I said, I live on Smith Street, so I walk the streets up, down, left, right, every day just about. So I met them outside at the construction site and, told them what I was looking to do as investment into the city as well.
Okay, so you went seeking them. With this current property that you're seeking right here on Smith Street, there's some nice houses and big houses next to it. Smith Street is a beautiful block, actually. What are you looking for? Well, I know Deputy Mayor said we have to be careful about certain things, and I take heed to that. But are you looking to put Newarkers in it? Are you looking to flip it? Like, what's your mission with the property? And I salute you actually for being on the block as well. So, but is there a certain specific strategy that you're planning to do with this home?
So like I said, ideally, I would love to use it as affordable, hold on to it and do affordable housing. But again, I only have until, June. So it just depends on the process from here to where we will be, have the time, we'll be able to fill that timeline to be able to get help to build, to do affordable housing.
Is that one of your goals, to do affordable housing in Newark?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I like that. I'm going to remember that too, that you plan on doing affordable housing in Newark, New Jersey. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Kelly. Councilman Gonzalez.
Building a house from, let's say, from the bottom up is going to cost some money. Do we have the financial resources in place to build this house?
Absolutely. And that goes back to partnerships. So you collaborate in partnership and kind of go about it that way. But yes, we do have the funds in place to build.
Thank you.
All right, no other questions. Thank you very much, Mr. Hurley.
Thank you.
Council President, council members, that concludes the number of people who are here for the private sale. Again, the one this evening for item E 25-0208, Vinci Development will be attending this evening.
We'll see what we're going to do with that, Deputy Mayor. We usually have them come to the meeting here and don't have that extra discussion at the council meeting itself.
Unfortunately, the person just wasn't able to attend. I will say that, again, and it's out of tremendous respect, the agendas are posted on a Friday, and it's not a clerk's issue. It's just a matter of fact. And so we work hard to invite everybody to come on the date at 10 o'clock. But there are other things that people have pre-scheduled. And so it's not out of disrespect to the council. It's just they're trying to come and meet the request.
Thank you for your comments, but just understand we may act accordingly.
Understood.
All right. Next item.
F is the introduction of the 2025 annual budget for the West Ward Special Improvement District known as Partnership West Incorporated.
Any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, hearing none, next item.
G is the introduction of the 2025 annual budget for the Bergen Lions Clinton Special Improvement District.
Any questions from the council?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'm gonna sponsor that item.
Sponsored by
Second.
Councilman Council, second Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
And Council President, I'm gonna go back to mine too and sponsor that as well, please.
All right. So we got the sponsors on 7R2G, right? All right, going back to 7R2F, Kelly Gonzalez.
Duly noted. H is the reading and adopting of the 2025 annual budget for Mount Prospect Avenue Neighborhood Improvement District Management Corporation. And a public hearing will be held this evening.
Any questions on this matter?
No question.
All right. Hearing none, next item.
I is a reading and adopting of the 2025 Ironbound Business Improvement District, and there's a public hearing this evening.
Questions? Hearing none, next item.
J is reading and adopting the 2025 annual budget for Bloomfield Avenue Lower Broadway Business Improvement District, and there's a public hearing this evening.
Questions? Hearing none, next item.
7R5A through J are contracts with subrecipients to provide HIV/AIDS-related health and support services. A is for Trinitas Regional Medical Center Early Intervention Program. B is North Jersey Community Research Initiative. C is Smith Center for Infectious Disease and Urban Health. D is United Way of Greater Union County. E is Edge, New Jersey. F is Team Management 2000. G is Hyacinth AIDS Foundation. H is St. James Health. I is Future Bridge Business Solutions. J is Neighborhood Services Corporation.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
7R6A through C are settlements of civil litigation for executive session.
Thank you. Next item.
7R6D through G are professional services contracts. D is for per diem attorneys in the Newark Municipal Court. E is provide legal services concerning bond counsel services. F is also for bond counsel services. And G is for environmental matters.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
7R8A is a hold harmless and indemnification agreement for the annual Easter egg hunt, sponsored by Councilman Quintana.
Second.
Duly noted.
Next item.
B is a resolution of supporting a grant application for WBGO, sponsored by Council President Crump.
Thank you for the second.
Duly noted. C is recognizing and commending resolutions, and D is expressing profound sorrow and regret.
I don't know, but I am a member of WBGO. I've been for years.
Very good. Any questions? Seeing none, hearing none, next item.
7R9A and B are appointment of special police officers. A is 78 Newark residents, and B is 9 non-Newark residents.
Questions from the council? Okay, Councilman
If the deputy
Gonzalez.
If the deputy would come, I just want to make sure that we are doing the right thing, that only Newarkers are on the first list, and that only the ones that were in the previous list are included in the
His appointment.
out of town.
Residents.
Good morning, Council President, to Councilman Gonzalez. I'm Leo Carrillo, Newark Police Deputy Director. To Councilman Gonzalez's question, yes, the first 78 on the list are Newark residents confirmed by our candidate investigations team, and 9 are outside residents.
those are, they say, we are depleting that list of the non-residents. Uh,
I,
I suppose that attrition would take care of that.
I will certainly look into that, Council President, regarding how that list is being depleted. I know that normally every year they're renewed. So it's a yearly process, so.
No, we know, the thing is that at one point in time, we had like 13, 14 people on that list. Now we're down to 9. So I suppose that by natural attrition, that list will be eliminated and only Newarkers would be in the force.
But yeah, if we go at this rate, potentially, yes, sir, eventually attrition would account for those special officers to those 9 to be out.
Thank you.
So just to just for my, I guess, edification, there will not be any additional non-Newark residents added to special police, new ones, only
So
the ones
I
that
don't-
are renewed that were previous.
Right, so I believe that if there were to be, there would be a request for a waiver of residency. Again, I don't know that that's the case today, that we're applying for any waivers of residency, but if we were to apply for someone that we need or want to hire, we would have to request a waiver for that to be approved.
All right.
That would be in
I'm sorry.
violation of
Gonzalez.
the ordinance. The ordinance says that all the special police officers have to be residents of the city of Newark. So I don't think that it provides for exemptions. They have to be Newark residents because they are called Newark Special Police. So we want them to be from Newark.
Well, we'll get to that
Understood.
bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'll certainly look into it further and provide additional comments online via email
All right.
regarding that.
Thank you, Councilman.
Mr. Chair, what is our current number of special police officers?
78 plus 9 would give us that number, so 87.
So currently we have 87, or not the request on here, the number of special police officers that we already have in the city.
Yeah, so so their commission is renewed every year. So that is the
Okay.
number that we would move forward with. The
78
plus
plus
9.
plus
Yeah,
9.
78 residents and the 9 outside.
And Mr. President.
Councilman Gonzalez.
They have to certify, they say the residents of the city of Newark have to certify that they are residents of the city of Newark. Do we investigate the address? Because there was a complaint about one officer last year that he lived in Elizabeth and not in Newark. And we asked for an investigation and nothing happened of that. I would love to see that we are doing a thorough investigation and making sure that those individuals that say that they are from Newark, that they actually live in the city of Newark.
Yes, sir, understood. So we have a candidate investigations team which goes out and verifies, where people live, usually site visits, and they have to require to bring in paperwork as part of their application process. But I'll certainly, again, look into that process and try to find out that one allegation about the Elizabeth resident and provide that as an update to the council.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next item.
7R11A is accepting a gift of 5 custom-built seating cabanas from New Jersey Institute of Technology.
Any questions from the council?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Councilman.
I want to thank NJIT for stepping up and doing this Heroian thing towards the residents of the city, more importantly, to all of the 5 pools that will benefit from these cabanas during the summer months, that the residents can be able to have another amenity that they can be able to share in. So I want to thank NJIT and our rec department for working along with them to make this happen. I want to sponsor this item.
I'll second it. Yeah, I think this is a great thing that NJIT is doing. Thank you, Councilman. Council, particularly when you go to those pools that are outside in the sun. So I think this would be great benefit for our community. And I also want to thank NJIT for this. Councilman Kelly.
Do we know where they'll be assigned to?
Yeah, Bo Porter, Boylan, Hayes West, and Rotunda. Next item.
7R12A is a professional service contract to provide professional engineering services for green infrastructure program management, design, and construction administration.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, next item.
Communications. Item 8A is an ordinance granting a 30-year tax abatement to 69 Sherman Avenue Urban Renewal Company, LLC, for a project to construct a new 5-story building with a total of 44 affordable housing rental units, which shall be restricted to tenants at 60% of area median income in the South Ward.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
B is an ordinance granting a 17-year tax abatement to SPG 100 Frontage Road Urban Renewal, LLC, for a project to construct a 224,900 square foot warehouse distribution building in the East Ward.
Questions from the council?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Uh,
Don't want to butt in on Councilman Silva, but we did have an opportunity to go when they first opened up the beautiful building on Frontage Road. But more importantly, they took advantage of the fact that hearing the cry of residents from the city of Newark and hired a lot of Newark residents. So I'm definitely appreciative of that. That they taken the notion of push ahead. And I know Councilman Silva continues to work with them to make sure that they're having Newarkers work at their facilities.
Councilman Silva.
Yeah, it was just a touch on what the council said. We were there for the grand opening probably a year ago, more or less, and United is in there with several other companies, and I happened to reach out for the owners, and as of yesterday, they have 272 employees, with almost 70% being from the city of Newark. So,
Very nice.
Yep.
Great, thank you, Councilman. Anything else? Next item.
C is an ordinance amending childhood lead poisoning, Article 7, rental dwelling lead safe certification to create the inspection of certain residential rental dwellings for lead-based paint hazards, single-family and multiple units dwellings built prior to 1978 be inspected for lead-based paint.
Can we get the director just to come up and just give a brief explanation of this matter?
Good morning, Ketlin Alsberg, Director for the Newark Department of Health and
Morning.
Community Wellness. This ordinance is in alignment with the new law that was issued in 2022 under the Murphy administration. The lead safe law requires all rental dwellings to be inspected for lead at the time of leasing and also every 3 years thereafter, and whenever it's turned over to a new tenant as well. In order to make sure that our laws are consistent with state laws, we submit this ordinance. Our program is currently in place. We provide inspections as well as certificates once we've determined that the home is lead safe.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Councilman Gonzalez.
How frequent are these inspections going to happen? Are they going to happen every time that the tenant changes?
Correct, at tenant turnover. If the last inspection hasn't occurred in the last 2 years, or every 3 years, it should be re-inspected. So if you're a homeowner, you get that initial inspection done. If there's no lead paint hazards in the home, you receive a lead safe certificate that's good for 3 years, at which point you'll need to do the re-inspection. If the unit itself happens to turn over to a new tenant prior to that, and it's been more than 2 years since the last inspection, then you will need to do a re-inspection.
So let's say I
And
have.
this, I'm sorry, just to be clear, this is for properties that were built prior to 1978.
So I have a house that was, let's say my house was built in 1934. You go to the house and you find that there is no lead paint, and you issue me a certificate. Do I have to, every 2 years, assuming that I rent the house, get another certificate when you say you indicated that there was no lead at the beginning of the, let's say, the first inspection, you determined that there was no lead. Now, any paint that you use now doesn't have lead. So why do the continuing inspections that would delay me from renting the property and perhaps wasting or losing some money by the time we get let's say the inspection certificate indicating that there is no lead.
I understand your question, Councilman Gonzalez. I just want to clarify. There is a process for determining if a unit is lead-free, right? Lead-safe and lead-free is different. So if you've done extensive renovations to your property, the entire thing has been painted with, lead-free paint, then you can get a lead-free certificate that would then not require you to go through this routine inspection. But we recognize older homes deteriorate, and so even if you did not have any actual hazards this year, that may not be the case a few years from now, which is why the re-inspection is important.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just have,
Councilman Council? No, all right.
I have a question.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, Councilman.
Is these inspections, are they at any cost to the homeowner?
Yes, there is a fee schedule in place. I believe that's part of the Legistar file. And so we charge a fee based on the number of units in the rental dwelling. There's an administrative fee that goes to the DCA, to the state. And many properties, those that are like 3-family on up, those are generally getting inspected by the state. The new law extends this requirement to single-family and 2-family homes that weren't necessarily included before. And so those typically are the ones that may not already be DCA inspected and certified, and they would come through the city. We assess the fee for the inspection, and then thankfully we have HUD and DCA grants that allow us to provide financial assistance for the remediation and abatement should there be lead paint hazards identified.
And again, Councilwoman, maybe one day. Director, this legislation just mirrors what the state law is, and we're just following what state law.
That is correct.
All right, thank you. All right, seeing the next item, that's it.
That concludes the agenda.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Council.
can we go back to 8A? Can we move and adopt on first? Sherman Avenue.
Hey, you want to advance and adopt on first?
Yeah.
All right. Council as a whole? Yep. Okay.
Duly noted. Public comment?
Public comment.
We are now in the 30-minute public comment portion of this meeting where each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. When you approach the microphone, please state your name for the record. Is there anyone wishing to address the council?
Someone appearing.
Deborah Salter, City of Newark, warrior for the people. Let me first say that the job fair that was held about a week or so ago was phenomenal over at the Temple of Hip Hop. I just wish that there was a collaboration with Newark One Stop because they had one on the same day as you all had put together. I don't know where the miscommunication happened, but we need to pull that together to make it better for the residents. Now, I wasn't even planning to talk about this, but I'm looking at how you all fight so hard for these developers, right? I'm looking at the selling price for $21,000, $29,000, and you're asking these questions, basically formality, because the things that they're saying and the things that you're saying are not matching up. But then it's like, oh, but then the whole time you're kissing their feet. Well, we want you to do the business here and the development, and, we appreciate what you do and blah, blah, blah. The fact is, we are not getting, for someone to get a property for $21,000 or $29,000, and this is the thing that I spoke to Councilman James about when he was here. He talked about how he gave lots for $1,000. Here's the thing, you all did not work with the residents of the city of Newark to say, okay, if you put 21,000 together, or if you all put 29,000 together, we can get this property, then I'll help you get with the people who can help you do the funding, and that's building your community. That's building the community. But you sit here and you ask these questions to people you know good and well they're not selling to Newarkers for $900,000 to $1 million. Well, do you have it in your mind to rent to Newarkers or sell to Newarkers? Of course they're going to say yes, or well, it's something that we can talk about or think about. I didn't think about it. What else are they going to say? And then you get Allison Ladd up here, who fights so hard for these developers, stood up here one time, we're going to give them $1.8 million because, inflation. But the regular homeowner in the city of Newark can't get anything. So you plead the cases for these people who are not from here, who do not make we Newarkers the priority. And you vote yes on it. You ask this question, that question. Well, what about this? And how do you, thank you for being here. I keep telling y'all, I've been telling you, these people know what we have. So if they know they can get it for a price of Skittles, you don't think they're gonna play the game with you to get it and then sell it to us for 20 times what they paid for it? What is wrong with you people? The answer to some of this stuff should be no. Or what have you done to work with the residents? But you fight for these developers and you kiss their feet to keep them here.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Good morning, Reverend Queen Mother Imaku, Central Ward.
Good morning.
First of all, I want to thank you, Council President, for following up with me on the situation I spoke about last time that I was here regarding my landlords not being in compliance and are having to go to battle in court. I just want to be able to share something that I did share with you that is a problem because even though your landlord may not be in compliance, meaning specifically, if the building is not registered, according to the ordinance here in the city of Newark, the landlord is not allowed to raise rent or evict. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know to check to see if the building is in compliance. My building was last registered where I live in 2015. And my landlords basically do not care. They have received 6 notices from the city, 6. And they are still not doing anything regarding the violations that were found, because after the city discovered this, then of course there had to be an inspection because one hadn't been done. Code enforcement came out, was sporadically, but still it's been a total of 5 times. Each time more violations were found. So someone finally came back out a couple of weeks ago after I stood here the last time, and more violations were found. And there is a window, yes, where these issues are supposed to be abated. And same situation. So the thing that really needs to be stressed here is that I'm not the only one who has gone through this, and others who did go in knowing good and well that their landlord was not in compliance with the city, who brought this up before the county hearing officers or judges, basically were told, well, that's a local municipal matter. You'll have to go back to your municipality to make sure that they enforce that. So there's a disconnect. How is it you have an ordinance on the books that's supposed to be adhered to when the county is saying, well, my name's Paul, that's y'all. Okay, you go and deal with your local politicians. So my question is, how do we bridge that gap? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker. Hearing none, seeing none. Public speaking is now closed. Anything from the council? Councilman?
Two things. One, to Ms. Salter's point, I have been an advocate probably since 2022, encouraging block associations to become 501c3 organizations to ensure that they have a stake in what happens in their community with development and building, to purchase property, to ultimately begin to determine who fits in their neighborhoods and how they want to make sure that these properties are not just available for Newarkers, but also for the community in which they live in. I continue to encourage every block association, instead of being registered as a block association or as a block group, to become 501c3, get your documentation and paperwork. So if there is property on your block that someone is looking to sell, or if it is a city-owned property that is falling apart and condemned, that you have the wherewithal and the documentation to begin to fight for the movement and change of your neighborhood. That's community empowerment, and that's what we should be doing. And so to that point, I do speak about the importance of community empowerment. Secondly, the point that was made about the county and what is happening in these jurisdictions, I would think we should pass that on to our corporation council, because there is a breakdown, a fundamental breakdown in respect of the laws that this council puts together and what is happening in other areas when folks are hearing matters from our residents. And so hopefully if there can be some conversation between our corporation council and our law folks with what is happening at that county level around things that we put in place for rent control, or making sure that folks have been registered, or their apartments have been registered, and a lot of trickery that is happening in our communities with individuals sending letters to residents telling them that they have to move and they have 20 days and 30 days with no prior notice and no information attached to it, or no court documents. And all of these kind of things are happening, and we should encourage every resident to reach out to our rental office, as well as our council colleagues, if these things are happening, so that we can make sure that we are at the forefront of protecting these residents in the city from some of these kind of unscrupulous practices of trying to push people out so that they can reconfigure their apartments and charge higher rents. That's just a fact. There are individuals that may be paying $1,000 or $850 in rent and have been in these properties for 20 years, 30 years, and don't want to move. And what happens is they begin to try to push them out so that they can try to redirect the rent. We just want to be at the forefront of that and be proactive. So I just wanted to make those statements.
Thank you, Councilman, because I agree. I'm dealing with a number of issues where the landlord is trying to evict the tenant illegally. And we're fighting it with the rent control office, which is being very helpful, and others. And I'm sure I'm not the only one up here or out there. So definitely something to refer to the Corporation Council for response and action. Anybody else up here? Council? Anything from the administration? Anything from the administration? With that, let's roll call of executive session.
Council?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Quintana Ramos absent. Scott Roundtree? Silva?
Yes.
President Crump?
Yes. All right, let's go upstairs quick. Oh, if I can get up.